Yo, what's going on, everybody? So we finally got a proper look at Nioh 3, and I'm not even gonna pretend I've been waiting on this one for a while. I love Nioh 1 and 2, and from everything Team Ninja has shown so far, this looks like they're taking some pretty big swings. So far, I like what I'm seeing. If you somehow missed it, there's a full demo out there right now that basically covers the opening stretch of the game. It introduces the core systems, shows some of the structural changes, and most importantly, it makes it very clear that this isn't just Neo 2 again. The biggest shift I've noticed so far, the move towards a semi open world hub structure. It's not fully open world in the traditional sense, but it's definitely leaning into that Rise of the Ronin style layout, with larger zones broken into sections, exploration levels, some side activities, and shrines scattered throughout the area. It feels like they tested that format before and refined it here specifically for Neo. And honestly, for this kind of combat system, giving it a bit more space to breathe makes sense. Now, for the biggest change, the samurai and ninja style system. You can freely swap between the two mid-combat. You're not locked in, you're not build committed, you can switch whenever you want. Looking at samurai style, it's basically classic Neo. It's a bit slower and more deliberate, much more focused on the stance system. You build up a meter through combat, and that meter powers up your martial arts abilities. So the more aggressive and controlled you play, the more explosive your combos become. Looks heavy, impactful, and technical. Ninja style, on the other hand, has a completely different energy. Faster and more evasive, you don't key pulls to recover stamina. Instead, you get a variety of different effects. One might drop a clone that distracts enemies, or you'll get a bonus damage from back attacks. You've also got ninjutsu tools like caltrops and shurikens, all that classic shinobi stuff, you know? It's not just cosmetic either, it genuinely looks like two combat philosophies layered into one character. And what's cool is how they reworked some returning mechanics around that. In Nioh 2, when enemies did those big red burst attacks, you'd burst counter them. Here, you style switch at the right moment to interrupt the attack while shifting forms. That's such a sick evolution of the system. I'm no expert, but I think that's pretty smart game design. Then you've got Soul Cores coming back, which I was really hoping for, but they've adjusted how magic works around them. Instead of the traditional magic trees, you slot soul cores into shrines, and they either grant you consumable style abilities per shrine, or some sort of passive stat boost depending on how you use them. It's really this constant layering of systems that's always kind of been Neo's thing. Progression stacked on progression stacked on progression. Speaking of progression, leveling is still that familiar Souls-like loop. You defeat enemies, gather Amrita, spend it on shrines, scale stats based on weapon preferences, nothing too shocking here at all. Loot, on the other hand, is still very much Diablo coded. You get all kinds of randomized gear with stat rolls and set bonuses that most likely become more important in the endgame. Early on, it looks like you're just equipping whatever's strongest, dismantling or offering the rest for extra Amrita. But if Nioh 1 and 2 are any indication, the real depth will kick in later when you're crafting full-on builds. That's something I'm really curious about, how they handle the endgame cycle this time. Nioh 1 and 2 were pretty well known for some absolutely insane New Game Plus layers. If they keep that philosophy but merge it into this hub-based structure, that could get pretty wild. Now let's talk a little bit about world design. These hub areas have been divided into smaller sections, so as you complete some activities, think clearing enemy camps, finding shrines, beating crucibles, your exploration level tends to increase. The higher the level, the more of the map reveals itself, so eventually it'll show everything that you can collect in the area. Now, that system could go one of two ways. Best case scenario, it'll feel rewarding and encourage exploration. The worst case, Ubisoft. Enough said on that part. But from what's been shown so far, the verticality really helps a lot. There's even a double jump now, which is such a simple addition but opens up traversal in a big way. Stealth, while not the main focus, is still very viable. You can headshot enemies with ranged weapons, just like in the previous games. You can even sneak up on them and try to assassinate them. It won't always be a one-shot on the bigger enemies, but it smacks up a chunk of health out of them. That kind of flexibility is what makes Nioh combat so good. You're not locked into one approach. Now, story-wise, it's Nioh. This will basically come down to a mix of historical Japan, Amrita stones, yokai chaos, and some betrayal mixed in. This time around, you're set to become shogun. You get betrayed, then someone else starts abusing Amrita power, pulling yokai into the world and causing destruction and mayhem. Naturally, as John Nioh, you're going to put a stop to that. It's not exactly reinventing a narrative structure here, but it doesn't have to. I mean, Nioh's never really been about deep character drama. It's about giving you a reason to fight demons with ridiculously deep combat mechanics. And on that front, everything shown so far looks smooth, like really smooth. Team Ninja already makes some of the best combat systems in the genre, and Nioh specifically has always felt like their most refined formula. It's fast, technical, punishing, but incredibly expressive once you understand it. Adding style switching into that just increases player expression. And that's what gets me excited the most. Because if this sticks to landing, if the later systems expand properly, if the hub areas don't get overly repetitive, and particularly if the difficulty curve stays tight, this could be the strongest version of Nioh yet. It feels on track to be more of an evolution instead of just repetition. And for anyone who loves samurai combat, ninja mechanics, Souls-like progression systems, Diablo-style loot, this is kind of a perfect storm. The full release is right around the corner on February 6th, so we won't have to wait long to see how it all comes together. But based on everything shown so far, yeah, I'm very optimistic about this one. So what do you all think? Are you excited for the next entry in the franchise? Does it seem too samey? Does the open world turn you off? Either way, thanks again for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I'll see you next time. Have a great one.